Just a two-part question. Number one, do you think there's any point at which the Chinese stop buying U.S. dollars? And the second part is, do you think there's any chance that major commodities like oil, for instance, stops being traded in U.S. dollars? There was some talk about that a couple of years ago. I haven't really heard much about it lately, but I think those two kind of things could put a crimp in the plans of American being, the dominant economy and the dollar being all sovereign.
Yeah, so the question is, let's do the second one first. Um, I think that we will eventually drift away from just having the US dollar as the numeraire. Right now it is, and we're in a strong position, but I tend to think as these other economies grow up around the US, that it will become less significant overall, and the case to be made for everything in dollars is going to be a lot weaker. And indeed, it already is, because effectively a lot of the fluctuation in the price of oil is due to the dollar itself. So if you look at oil in a different currency, it looks much different than looking at it in the US dollars. Um, so I think that that's more of a long-term thing. And actually, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Okay, we've got a floating currency, we've got a very strong economy in terms of the fundamentals. Like right now, it's weak, but the fundamentals are there. We're a very innovative economy and will be a winner in the future. And I don't think it's crucial that everything is done in dollars. So it gives us a little extra bargaining power today, but I would say in the medium term, we're going to see, baskets probably. As for what China is doing, it really doesn't have a choice. It's kind of like doing what's known as vendor finance. So they want us to buy, their goods. So they're supporting us. And that's the way, they've got a huge demographic bet. It's a bet that is unprecedented in history in terms of the way that their family planning has changed for basically having one child. And then how do you support an aging population when you've only got one child? So the only way to do that is to grow at a real rate of 10% every year for a huge number of years. So they understand the bet, they understand what's at stake. They've got to develop very rapidly and almost at an unprecedented rate in order to kind of fulfill kind of this demographic bet that they've actually taken. So I think that China will do everything possible to accommodate the US. And it's definitely in their best interest. They want, and I said this earlier, lack of volatility. They're extremely risk averse. Any volatility could cause social unrest, which is exactly what they don't want. That would take them off this growth path, potentially cause a crisis. So they are not going to rock the boat. Indeed, they think by having a fixed exchange rate that actually reduces the overall volatility. And it might in the short term. What they don't realize is that it increases the long-term risk. That if these global imbalances become so large that you could go into a trade war, and that could have very negative consequences.